It's impossible to create an average from always. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group. This is part 2 of our 5-part series, looking at God's love and justice. Today, we're going to look at the changelessness of God. We learned in the previous study that he is good and upright. While I'm praising God, I'm praising him today. That does not change. It can't change because he doesn't change. But before we go deeper, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and pass this video on to someone else. You can also visit the website. That's at changeministry.org, available 24/7, free of charge. And of course, we'd love to come where you are. We'd love to be at your church or your school and to share. We're even willing to come at our own expense. But remember, we're relying on your invitation. So to get us there, let's start by sending an email. And you can get us at contact@changeministry.org. The idea of an average mathematically is that you take a set of numbers, and from those numbers, you create a mean, or you get the number that is most common amongst the group. So when it comes to God and his character, let's say if you were to take him as a day-by-day situation, or even a year-by-year situation, because he does not change, and he is always 100, you're going to always get 100 because of the alwaysness of God. Here in James 1:17, every good and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. I know we get the idea of a shadow, right? There's no shadow of turning. He's not one way this way, then one day the next. But then it even got mathematical. There are no unknown variables, and he does not vary. The variableness of life is based on us, compounded by our character and the sinful condition. So you got unstable sin, you got unstable us, and in the midst of this, you have this line. You have this laser that's always on point. By definition, that's what makes him a laser. It's what makes him reliable. He doesn't change. He doesn't change because Titus 1:2 says, in hope of eternal life, which God, that cannot lie, promised before the world began. Now that gives us some undergirding to why God can't lie. Because if he were to say one thing and to lie or something else happen, that's shadow of turning. That's variableness. Whatever he says, it becomes the truth. Well, how is that possible? He can't lie because whatever he says becomes truth. Because as a creator, when he says that's what it is, that's what it's going to be. He is the Alpha. He is the author. He is the one who makes what we see be. So if he is consistent, his justice is consistent. In fact, Hebrews chapter 6, verse 17 breaks it down, wherein God, willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by 2 immutable things in which it was impossible for God to lie, we might have a strong consolation, who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us. I'm going to try and leave a link to this study where we talked about this way back, about those 2 immutable things. But we're not focusing on that part of the verse. But in this study, we're focusing on the idea of the immutability of his counsel. In other words, what God says is true because he's not just God. This is not just a power trip. It's because of who he is and that he doesn't change. And whatever he counsels or whatever his wisdom is, it's based not on preference. It's based on his perfection. It's based on his consistency. He is the maker, but he's not just the creator. He is also the author of our salvation. John 3 says he's the one who said, I will give my only begotten son. Jesus was the one who said, I am willing to come on their behalf. They have authored all that is good from a good place for bad people, for us. And I pray that we buy into the promise that we don't have to rely on God's average, hoping that we get the best. We can rely on God's awesome, which happens to be always.